Hello to all the ghouls and vampires out there. I'm Joe, here with me is my co-host Dan,
Hello and greetings.
and we have our first horror cinema podcast in a while. Generally, this channel has devolved into just my 5-minute reviews, which, okay, that's fine. I actually don't mind that. But the thing is, this review has been a long time in coming. More because I really liked Gothika. It was not a video that, when I did the 5-minute review of it, that really scored a lot of views. Not many people were terribly impressed by my review. Not many people cared. But I really do like this movie. This is probably one of, if not the best Halle Berry movie I've ever seen. I really like this movie, and I consider it one of the best horror movies of the first decade of the 2000s. This is a horror movie with a lot of nuance and detail to it. And I have seen people say it was a really stupid movie, which is a strange thing to say when it's pretty dense. It's pretty full of details. All right, so the movie starts off with our heroine, Miranda Gray, who is a therapist in a madhouse. We really got to open up more madhouses. I'm serious. There's a lot of kooks out there. I'm entirely serious. There's a lot of kooks out there. A lot of them, for example, thinking there's more than two sexes, which is just so bizarre and stupid. Anyways, the thing is, Miranda is trying to convince one woman that she's been violated by her stepfather, which apparently this young woman, who's played by Penelope Cruz, was. But there's someone else who violated her over the years. And the thing is, this woman is telling of how some guy has been slipping into her room to violate her. Now, it's implied that Doug, Halle Berry's character's Miranda Gray's husband, has been slipping in his best friend. On the other hand, we know from a later scene that actually it's his spirit or something that was doing it. But Miranda, after flirting with one of her husband's co-workers, and her co-worker, played by Downey Jr., ends up going home late and kind of runs into a very mysterious, terrifying girl to look at called Rachel Parsons. Parsons has been murdered, but is haunting Miranda Gray, whom is woefully blind to the fact that her husband is a serial killer. Miranda, interestingly, I would say all the signs are all around her, but she's this is where I'm going to actually get into a bit of an analysis of the character. Miranda enjoys her rich lifestyle too much to expose the truth, so that she's kind of guilty in a way. The thing is, she knows her patient is being violated, but she doesn't want to acknowledge it because she doesn't believe in the supernatural. And there is something supernatural about some of the violations in the cell, because that madhouse is bloody haunted. Miranda does not want to acknowledge this. What she also doesn't want to acknowledge is that her husband often calls himself God and is arrogant, evidently narcissistic. He's apparently not having too many relations with her because he's interested in much younger girls. I'm trying to be polite. So the very, very beautiful Miranda Gray is unsatisfied, but hence why she's flirting with a coworker. But on the other hand, she's a rich woman. Her husband is the top doctor in a madhouse. He's doing pretty well. And from what we can see of their house, they live in a mansion. The trouble is, like I said, Miranda is blind, rich, and not recognizing the fact that her husband goes down to the farm a lot, like he does at the beginning of the movie. But he's not doing farm work. You could tell because he's fat as a land whale. And that's the weird thing. He goes there sometimes with his best friend, I think, what is it, Doug or John? I forget his name. the sheriff. So the two guys are not doing farm work, but they're constantly going down to the farm. Why is, like your average person would kind of go, your average woman would probably actually suspect an affair, right? But she doesn't even care.
That's like
She's more interested in flirting with the coworker. So I would argue, does a part of her suspect the truth? And her boss has also been depressed because his daughter disappeared. But ever since his daughter disappeared, her husband's been going to the farm a lot. Hello! I'm sorry, but all the signs are right there. And you could argue she's in love with her husband. Part of her is, but there's also a bit of willful stubbornness and persistence. Now, that being said, I'm just analyzing that Miranda's a little guilty. On the other hand, maybe it's just a matter of denial. And it probably is. She's in denial because to recognize the truth would mean her entire marriage has been a sham the entire time. Her husband is a sick, sick man. On the other hand, she may not want to acknowledge it, but Miranda is somehow in some way spiritually aware. But she's not yet come into it. So Rachel Parsons, who failed to communicate with her own father, as it's later revealed in the movie, who basically took some pills because he couldn't handle the nightmares of seeing his daughter being butchered and chopped up and otherwise in flames and haunting him, turned away from his daughter. Not because he didn't like her, it's just the nightmares were so traumatic, and he thought they were just nightmares. He didn't believe in the supernatural. So he turned away from what was in front of him. In a way, he kind of did deny his daughter. But on the other hand, just to psychoanalyze the ghost a little, obviously she reached out to her father first because basically this young 15-year-old girl wanted her daddy to comfort her, and he didn't. So she turned to the guilty man's wife, probably to get close and take matters into her own hands. This girl must be part Swedish. But anyways, Miranda apparently goes home while possessed by this Rachel Parsons and butchers her own husband. Then wakes up in the madhouse sometime later. Okay. At which point, Rachel starts taking a knife to her, occasionally stabbing, or I should say slashing her arm, occasionally beating the snot out of her, and otherwise bullying her, schoolgirl stuff. But actually, the scenes are very creepy. And Miranda struggles with the knowledge that, I think it's Chloe, the one patient played by Penelope Cruz, is being violated. And so now Miranda realizes her patient was not lying to her or embellishing a story. And when she tries to inform a lot of the nurses and guards, they don't believe her. They don't want to believe her. And they otherwise just try to drug her up constantly. And she has to take it into her own hands and try to investigate to see, what the heck's going on. But as the movie progresses, Miranda starts having several breakdowns and struggling with the fact that she's haunted. Then she decides to investigate home when she's finally able to break out of the madhouse. And just a side note, the only guard, I think, who suspected the truth that something's off in the asylum is the guard at the freaking entrance, who's also the only one who seems to be close friends with Miranda. Interesting. But anyways, he helps bail her out, gives her his car. She drives it to her home, where she breaks down. But then she finds a picture of her and her husband in front of their farmhouse, which is pretty run down, actually. So her husband's been neglecting the place because there's only one room under the barn that he cares about. It's the only well-maintained location on that farm. Pro tip: if you're going to be a monster, at least maintain the rest of the place. Don't neglect the entire place and tell everyone, yeah, I'm going to the farm to do some work. Actually do the work, like actually maintain everything. Might help you with your alibi. I'm just being sardonic here, but yeah. So she finds it because she becomes curious because, there's the picture covered in blood. So she decides, well, the blood's mostly blotching one part, the right-hand side of the picture. I'm going to go investigate. Goes to investigate. Can't get into the farmhouse. Decides to check out the barn. Doesn't find anything immediately. When she goes to leave, though, she notices a hook on the ground. The hook is actually, kind of the doorknob to, an underground part where she finds that her husband, he kept video proof of his various escapades. I'm going to say he's a bit of an amateur at this. But on the other hand, what he lacks in skill, he makes up for in wickedness and cruelty. And his partner in crimes apparently was the brains of the outfit, because apparently her husband was not terribly smart. But his partner, who was the sheriff, he was smart. And, so she then has to stop him. Now, throughout this movie, the acting is top-notch. All the actors are great. Halle Berry steals the show.
Of course.
She really should have gotten an award for this movie. I don't know if she did, but man, she was great. And also, I noticed another thing. The cameraman really stuck to her rear end. Wow, there were shots where it just zoomed in on her rear end, and it's like, okay, dude, back up a few meters, because I'm feeling a little weird here. No,
I guess it's...
Okay, okay. Halle Berry looks magnificent in this movie. And, come on. Son délicat, c'est magnifique.
Yeah.
A work of art, I tell you. God worked lovingly on her.
But focus.
There'll be plenty of time to peep and perv out later. I mean, Swordfish is just around the corner. Kudos to anyone who got that joke. But the trouble is with this movie, that's the only thing I have. A few shots, it's like, okay, seriously, you could work on this. Okay. On one hand, the cinematography is great, because, it focuses on Halle Berry. On the other hand, it's like, can I get a shot of the window or of this place? Because one of the shots of the barn, we could have used maybe a shot of maybe the window with maybe Rachel Parsons behind the window. That would have been a creepy shot. No, we got to get Halle's rear. I don't care why. I don't care how. We're going to get it in there. Yeah, okay. Sure. Hey, I admire the scenery as much as the next straight guy. I actually love it. But I also really love my horror stuff. So,
Stick to the movie.
Yeah. And the thing is, well, let's just say there's enough of those shots to make a gay man straight. Well, especially when the woman looks as fabulous as, and awesome and sexy as Halle Berry. But, okay, I gotta stop drooling over her. I'm just being honest. There's a reason she was a perfect choice for Storm. If only she got more scenes, and if only she got her own damn movie. Yes, I'm still sore about there not being a Storm movie with Halle Berry. That would have been great. But anyways, then again, we should have gotten a Cyclops movie with that actor. Yeah. But, well, whatever. But in all seriousness, please no more superhero movies. They're
no.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, this is probably her best movie, and the movie ends on a very creepy note, where it ends with Miranda Gray happier than before, and living earnestly with herself and learning to listen to her patients. And it's hinted she's also in a relationship with the guy she liked since some time ago. And she's been absolved of her crimes because it was proven that, mitigating circumstances and whatnot. But then we get the hint at the end of a boy who's missing. She sees his ghost, goes to carry on, thinking, well, okay, you know what? No, I've locked the door. It's over. But it's implied it'll never be over. This is her life now. That's kind of sad, in a way. She does deserve to just move on in life. But because her husband was a terrible man, she's now trapped in the nightmare of trying to find serial killers and trying to help their victims. That's pretty sad. So, let's rate this movie. I gotta give this okay, I'm gonna give it a 4. This is I can't think of a flaw. Maybe just a bit of more cinematography. Outside of Halle's posterior.
Yeah.
Focus on her upper chest a little more.
It's like less of the caboose, more of the engine.
No, less of the engine, more of the caboose, because we got too much of the engine. The cabooses need a bit more loving. They're fabulous, they're great, they're large, and we didn't even get to see her in a bikini.
We almost got it.
Yeah, except she's wearing a bloody one piece.
Ugh.
Like any guy even wants to see Halle Berry in that. Seriously, Swordfish got that over this movie. But in all seriousness,
I'll rate it a 4 as well.
yeah. And the best part is, well, Dan likes gingers more, and even he's saying Halle, he looks great in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
But the trouble, like I said, is this movie just needed to kind of back away from her. But in terms of plotting, characterization, mystery, horror, honestly, I wouldn't have minded had there been if this movie had served as a pilot into a TV series.
I agree. Rumors had it that there was a Gothika 2 that was being made, but they dropped it.
Oh, you looked that up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't. I wish there was. But, anyways, I don't think we have much more to add other than this was a spectacular movie. Check it out. And don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button. And to check out our book, The Crown of Blood, which the links will be down below. And also our Substack where we write plenty of horror stuff. So do check that out and subscribe over there.